All right, welcome back. We've got all of our motor speeds calculated, and now we need just to map them to the actual motor speed values of 1100 to 1900. To do that, we're going to use a quick mapping function here, map. And what are we mapping? Well, I'm going to start with the left front motor speed and go find that variable here, Control C, come down here and paste it in the mapping. So that's the number we're mapping. And its current value is from negative 100. We give it the range that it's currently at, comma 100, and now the range where we're mapping it to, we want the negative 100 to be 1100 for full speed backwards, and the 100% to be 1900 full speed forward, and then a semicolon here, and then I'm just going to do a quick comment, converts from negative 100, 100 to the motor speed, M speed values of 1100 to 1900. Now, again, Arduino's stupid. It's going to forget that conversion the moment it makes it, so we got to tell it where to store that. So over here I'm going to actually store it right back in the left front motor speed variable. I could create a new variable and call that one something else, but no need to. I don't need this old value anymore, so I can just, in the program, override it with the new value. So now inside here should be stored somewhere between 1100 and 1900. I'm going to copy and paste this line of code. Tab to line it up. I'm going to do that 4 times for each of the different motors and then line them all up. I hate how they break the line like this. I wish they would let it go off the screen. I'm going to pause, see if I can find a way to make that happen. Okay, so I just did some research and you can't turn that off easily. So the 2 things you can do is make your comment smaller or zoom out a little bit. I think I'm going to try to do the smaller one. I'm just going to do values here and get rid of the numbers because the numbers are actually in the code. Ooh, what did that do? So I'm just going to delete these. I just hate this when it shows it like it's 2 lines of code and it's really not. And it doesn't think it is either. You can see it actually adds a blank line over on the right side there. It just really is distracting to me. So I'm going to fix this real quick. If you want to, you can as well. Although yours may not be doing it. It just depends on when it hits the end of the screen what it does. I've got mine zoomed in pretty good, so yours may not be doing that problem. Okay, so let's move on. So now we've mapped our motor speeds from that negative 100, 100 range up to the actual motor speed range. Now we need to deal with stick drift. So a real problem with the way we have things set up is we're sending the joystick values from the joystick all the way through that long cable before they get to the Arduino. All the way through there, they're actually going to be messing with each other, and the camera feed is going to be causing interference as well. So when they get back, they're going to have some jump in them, some play. Now when the rotors are moving, that won't be that big a deal to have some tiny spikes every once in a while. But when the motor should not be moving, you don't want it to be sputtering and causing your robot to twist and turn and move and slide, because it'll be really hard to grab anything. So stick drift we're going to have to really deal with here, and it's going to be much bigger than what it has in the past because of that interference. All that said, let's get to it. So I'm going to basically ask an if question, and I'm trying to find out, wait, before I move on, I just noticed I didn't change any of these variables around. I'm going to pause the video, fix all those variables. When you're ready, unpause it and we'll get going again. All right, so I just fixed all those and made them make sense. And so now let's move back down to here. So I'm going to ask the question. Oh, actually, before we even get to that, I'm still ahead of myself. I'm going to copy and paste these serial prints down below the mapping. And this will allow us to check to make sure we didn't break anything with the mapping. So those go right in there. I'm going to line this up properly. And then, okay, great. Now we've got that. So I'm going to come up here and copy and paste my left front motor speed. I'm going to ask the question, if the left motor speed is greater than Let's say I'm going to go 1425. I'm going to do something a bigger range than before. And Control V, left motor speed is less than, let's say 1575. So that's a fairly long range. What that does is it's going to run the code inside the if statement anytime it's greater than 1425 but less than 1575. So right around that 1500 mark where it should be off. And if it's still sputtering when I run this code, I can actually expand that to be like 1400 to 1600. I can make that bigger and bigger until I eliminate all of that interference and noise and the sputtering of the motors. The drawback here is that your joystick will be dead in that range. So when you push on just a little bit, it won't actually register a motor speed until you're at 1600 or wherever the top, in this case, 1575. All right, so I've got my if condition set, and I've done a double ampersand here for and. And so instead of a semicolon here, I'm going to, of course, do an open curly brace, enter to go into the new row. I'm going to set the left motor speed, Control V, equal to 1500. This is the line of code that's going to actually stop the motor when it's inside this range. All right, so here this eliminates stick drift for this motor. All right, so now we've got that. I'm going to Control C, and I'm going to do this a bunch of times. So I'm actually going to grab up one more line of code, Control C, and then come down here, open up an enter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Except that was too many. I only wanted 3 more of them. And then an if. Now I have to ask myself, should I be running these as individual ifs, or can I do them as if else's? Well, if I've got stick drift in the left front motor speed, it's going to run this code. And I'm going to need to do that for each of the different sticks. It's not like only one can be wrong at a time. All 4 directions could be messed up. So we need to do it as individual ifs and always ask that question. So now I'm going to go through and change all these to the correct variables. I'll pause the recording and hit, you do the same and fix yours. All right, so now I've gone through and I've fixed all of those. So I've got 4 of them for each motor so far. Everything looks good. And then, one last thing I need to do actually. Before we move on, we do need to add the vertical thruster in. And where we're going to add that is right back up here with all of these motor speed mappings. And this was the easiest one because we're not adding anything together. It's just being controlled by the R, the right joystick, in the Y direction. So as it goes up, it goes up, it goes down, it goes down. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So here I'm going to say, I'm going to actually copy and paste one of these lines here right below, and this one's going to be V motor speed for the vertical motor speed. And we're not going to actually, we don't have a vertical motor speed yet. We're going to actually take this directly from the joystick read way up here at the beginning. So right here, the RY val, we've read that joystick value. It's still in that 0 to 1023 range. So let's go down here, we're going to use that. We're going to say, okay, so take the RY val, take that variable, and its current situation is from 0 to 1023, and map that up to 1100 and 1900. So that's going straight from joystick values to motor speed values, skipping the whole 100, negative 100, because we're not doing math on it, so let's make our lives easier. And then we need to do another serial print. I'm going to grab this third one here, Control C, enter, Control V, and I'm going to serial print that out. And I'm going to call this one, I'm going to change this one. Ooh, I shouldn't have done it that way. Change these 2 to right, and then this one, bottom one, to vertical. So VM and VM motor speed. Now, I need to do a check. I haven't checked my code in a while. I am going to throw an error here because I never created a vertical motor speed variable. And here I'm needing that variable, so it's going to tell me here that it is not declared. VM motor speed was not declared in this scope. So it's like, okay, so that's an easy fix. Let's come up here and create ourselves an integer variable. with the rest of them right here. I'm going to copy and paste and then change this one to V. That should take care of that error. So do a quick check again just to make sure there isn't anything else that's gotten messed up. Uh-oh. Let's see what it says. This is an unexpected error. Oh, RY val. So I think I've misspelled RY val. My guess is it's a lowercase v. Let's go take a look. RY val. I'm going to just copy and paste it from here. Yeah, I had a capital V in it. This is why we do tests, right? This is why we test our code frequently to find errors. Much easier to do it as you go along and not wait till the end. Fantastic. We are error-free at this point. So now we've taken care of stick drift, except we need one more stick drift for the vertical motor as well. It has the exact same problem as the other ones. So I'm going to add in one more if statement and then just change these to vertical. I promise we're getting close. We're almost there. All right. Now we've just eliminated stick drift on the vertical motor speed. The last thing to do here is to actually send the motor commands now. Before we do that, actually, let's put a serial print in so we can check to see if we broke anything. So I'm going to grab these serial prints up here and put them right down here below. And this way we can test whether these if statements broke anything. And then the last thing we do is just send the command. So here, that's going to be the name of the motor. So I'm going to come back up here to where I have my motors named. LF motor is my first one. And to send a command to the motor, you actually just do the motor name and then dot. In this case, we're doing a write microsecond. The M in microsecond is capitalized, parentheses. Okay, and then it feels like that shouldn't be orange, but we'll find out in a second if it throws an error. And then what I'm going to write to it is this left front motor speed variable. So whatever number's stored in there right now is what we're going to write to it. Hit a semicolon at the end of this, put a quick comment in. So sends the motor speed to the, technically it's sending it to the ESC, which is then going to control the motor. But you could put motor here, would be fine, I think. And then let's just run a quick test because I don't like this orange thing right here. Yeah, there's something wrong with that. Let me look at it real quick. Hang on a sec. All right, so I look at the error. It says, let's see, servo has no member name. Oh, so I've gotten this write microsecond wrong. It must be microseconds. I think it has an S on the end of it. So in the library, they named this function write microseconds. So you need to have it exactly the same. It turned green. That was a problem. All right, so let's do a quick check again just to make sure there aren't any other errors. And then we'll just copy and paste this thing and move on. All right, yay, we're going well. I'm going to open up some space here. I'm just going to copy and paste in this line of code, Control C, and then tab over, Control V, V, V. And we need 5, one for each motor. And I'm going to go through and edit these. I'm going to pause the recording. When you're ready, go ahead and pause yours and make the changes as well. All right, my friends, at this point, we have fully done the code. Now it's time to start testing it on the robot. And the way this looks like is once you upload this code, you should be able to be like, hey, if I push the left joystick all the way forward, all of the motors are blowing air backwards. If I do it with the left joystick directly to the right, all of the motors should be blowing air to the left. If I do the right joystick to the right, it should be blowing in different directions so that it would cause a rotation onto the robot. Good luck, my friends. Test it. Get help. You're nearing the end.